Hi, in this video I will be painting a Custodes Dreadnought in a unique silver and gold scheme from start to finish. Subscribe to my channel if you like the video, as I'll be uploading more projects as I do them. Enjoy! Righto, so today we're going to paint this bad boy, an Achillus Custodes Dreadnought. It's a model. It's a friend of mine's model. He's asked me to paint it for him. So yeah, it's just been base coated in Chaos Black spray and ready to go. I've magnetised the arms for two reasons really. They were tricky to glue, so I put magnets in, and they're also it's a bit easier to paint. I can take the spear off and things if I need to. So yeah, so we're all ready to go. I based it too. I put the basing down and then sprayed over the top because I didn't have. I'm going to do a dark. It's going to look something like this one. Let's show you. This is one I prepared earlier. I did it for him. It's going to look something like this one. Similar. So it's going to have a dark base on it. And I didn't have any dark basing stuff, so I put a lighter one and then just sprayed it black, and I'll paint it whatever I want then. Okie dokie. So first things first, I'm going to give it a coat of Vallejo metal colour, gunmetal grey. It's a really dark metal colour. So it's got an agitator in the bottle, so give it a good shake. I've already given it a bit of a shake, but give it a bit more. And you could put this down with a brush, but I'm going to use my airbrush for speed. So I'm going to put just a little bit of flow improver in just to help flow. Doesn't need a lot because this is very liquidy. It's very thin. So okay, got some on me. Quite messy bottles on these for some reason. They always seem to get covered in it. Yeah, that looks okay. So we'll put a few blobs of this in. Like I say, you don't really need to thin it at all. It's so thin. It's brilliant. Perfect for airbrushing. Like I say, you can use a normal airbrush with this paint. It works a treat. Alright, let's start sticking some paint down. Going to be a good thorough coat all over, getting all the nooks and crannies. Righto, so next we're going to get some of this colour. So it's Vallejo metal colour again, but it's the Duraluminium. It's like a nice bright silver. So give that a shake. Get some on our palette. And then I'm actually going to dry brush this onto here. So get some loaded into my big large dry brush, and then get the excess off. Like so. And then go all over the miniature. I'll just take the arms off for now. Do them in a minute. Let's pick out all the raised details, and it gives it a nice. It's quite a wet paint, so you really have to get the excess off, and it just puts down like a nice, on top of that dark metal from the previous coat, it gives it a nice realistic looking mottled metal look effect. I'll show you on this shoulder pad, usually looks quite good up there. Just keep working it. It's got quite a nice look over the top of the dark one. I do like dry brushing for metal colours. It's quite a realistic look. You could, if you wanted, a different kind of thing as sprayed. Once you've sprayed the dark paint on, you could spray your airbrush at an angle so only the top gets highlighted with the lighter metal, and then from underneath it looks darker. But I personally like the look of this. Okay, a bit more down. Right, so next thing we're going to do is cover it all the silver that we've done so far in Null Oil Gloss. Now this is nice sheen to it, and because of it's quite a glossy paint, it'll just run into all the cracks and crevices, and a treat. It's really good, and then that'll leave it with a nice high shine metal looking finish. So we just have to go around and just make sure it doesn't pool in any areas when we do it. So let's give this a shake and go for it. There we go. So just covering all the silver armor parts. Really be quite liberal with this. Like so. Don't have to do these parts like the joints, because I'm going to do them with a matte Agrax shade, like a more oily look for that, because they are the working components of the Dreadnought, more than the nice shiny armour. So yeah, so just slap it on. Okie doke, now that all the silver armour's done, it's time for paint some gold details. You can see I've made a start already. So I'll go around and I'll paint with, for this one I'm using Retributor Armour by Games Workshop. I find it's a really nice gold. It goes over most things, it really spreads well. So give that a shake. Some on the palette. I'll just go over like the big chest pieces, all the details really, the eagles on the shin pads, and then all these little squiggly bits, shoulder pads, and even the details on the shoulders themselves. So yeah, just work my way around, take off the bits, the limbs, and start colouring it in with gold. Right, so now all the gold details have dried. we're going to start doing a few washes now. So start with Drakenhof Nightshade, nice blue one. I'm just going to put this on a couple of things. I'm just going to put some on the vents at the back, just so it's got a different, slightly different hue to the metal of the rest of the model. It does go well over silver, this wash does. It looks really nice. If you're looking for something that looks slightly different than Null Noil, the black. I'm just going to put some on these pipes here too. And then I'm going to do, where are you? Airbrushing shade, nice brown wash. This is going to go over all the gold, and also the joints, like the elbow joints and the leg joints, just so they look matte for one, rather than shiny, and look like they're a bit more oily and well used than the armour. Whoops. So just pop a load of this in there. This gives it a slightly grimier, dirty looking metal than the rest of the model. And then also I'm going to put it on the gold details. Can I get in there for that? Yeah, I can get in there. I'll use a smaller brush to get in under those shoulder pads. Actually, I might be able to get in when I'm doing the gold like that. Yeah. Okie dokie, so put this all over the chest eagle, and this will make the gold look matte rather than shiny like the rest of the armour. It just makes it stand out a bit more than it all being high gloss. Bit of contrast. That's what we're after. Right, so we've done all the silver now, and we've shaded it with the Airbrushing shade. So we are going to highlight that now with, we're going to actually use Sigmarite, which is a dry brush one. Do a little bit of that. I don't know why I'm shaking it, because it's waxy. No need for that. And then I'll get I'm actually going to use this Games Workshop large base brush for this. Just dab it in there, rub off the excess, like so. And then just catch all the raised edges of the gold bits. Going to move on to silver. Where is it? After the Necron compound, which is another dry brush, but for silver, dry brush paint, Necron compound. Again, this is a very waxy paint. Load it up into the bristles. Rub off any excess. Just leave a minimal amount in the bristles. And then I'm not going to dry brush quite as heavily as I did the Sigmarite gold, and just pick out the raised edges of the gold bits very gently. Corners and edges, the little rivets, things like that. Right, I think for the next part I'll probably tackle the blade on the spear, so it looks something similar to the sword from the other dreadnought. So we go from a very dark blue all the way up to a white. So to start off that, we need to base coat the whole blade in Cantor blue. Okay, so get my big basing brush. Some up onto my palette. Oh, goes away. Must be a messy pot. Yep. And then simply coat the blade in Cantor blue. Okie doke, that's nice and dry. A couple of layers of Cantor blue. So, and I've just masked off around the gold bit of the spear here because I don't want to spray that all blue in a minute. So for the rest of the blade now, I'm going to go through these three colours. They're all Vallejo Mecha colour series, and I've got turquoise, sky blue, and pure white. I'm just going to go through them three. So starting with turquoise. That seems okay. And then I'm going to try, I think I'm going to leave the innermost part of the blade Cantor blue, or as much as possible, and then slowly fade out into turquoise, and then I'll do even less of the sky blue, and even less all the way to a nice white tip there. So I'll start on the edge of the blade, which is going to be white anyway, and work my way back, rocking the needle back very gently. Okay, let's try some of the sky blue next. So same deal again really, except for we're going to try and leave some of the turquoise showing and go out more towards the tips. Okay, and then we'll try fading in some white. And there, try to work even more towards the tip now. Right, so it looks a bit like that. It looks a bit too pastel-y and white for me at the minute, so I'm going to come back in with some turquoise, going back and forth between the colours till you're happy with the gradient between them. It's all part and parcel of it. Okie. Very carefully now. Just put some turquoise back in. I think it looks a bit better like that, to be honest, rather than having white all the way down here. I think it looks better as more light blue turquoise here and then going to a white tip rather than having it all the way down the blade. Okay. I'm actually going to go in with a little bit of Cantor blue now, just to darken the inner part of the blade there. Okie dokie, we'll let that dry and see what that looks like. There we go, that's pretty much dry. I'm quite pleased with how that's turned out, to be honest. Nice and dark and then fades out to a nice white tip. Plenty of energy crackling through that blade. So now I'm just going to edge highlight the details on it. So I'll get my small brush. I'm going to get some of the turquoise paint first. Mecha colour again, go back to what we were using before. I'm just going to run it across the edges down towards the bottom. I go to the sky blue paint. I'll pick out the edges a bit further up. And then I'll pick out some of these little twirly bits further up with this colour. Okie dokie, and then we'll go to the white next. There we go. Nice power blade for your dreadnought there. Right, next I'm going to do the guns and the grip on this spear. So the guns I'm going to do almost black, so I want them to look like black really, but I want to put a wash on for some details, for some depth. So I'm actually going to use Airbrushing grey by GW, which is very dark grey, and then put a wash on afterwards. And then for the grip, I'm going to paint that like a pinky colour, so I'm going to use Warlord Purple by Vallejo Game Air, because my friend's scheme is like that. He has pink hair on them, or if ponytails, whatever they are. I don't know if they actually is their hair. I don't suppose it is. But yeah, so as a nod to that, I'm going to put the grips on the spear that colour. Quite a thin paint, so you might take a couple of coats, especially to go over a dark base. And then I'll use Airbrushing grey to paint in the guns. So this gun here. Okay, so I'm just going to give this some quick washes. So I'm going to use on the pink handle, grip stuff. It's I'm going to use Druchii Violet by Citadel. Purple wash. I'll wash brush out for this and just get some of this in there, get it to sit in those little caps if I can. This actually goes over this particular ink shade, sorry, goes over gold really well for a really nice effect. If you want a different hue to your shading on gold, I'll show you on another model one time. Okay, so what should do in there? Put some in the recess to shade that nicely. Beautiful, I'll do. So that's that done. Wash that out, and we'll just get some of the good old Nuln Oil liquid talent. I'm going to put this over, I'll do that in a minute while that's drying, the weapons I've just painted with the grey. Okie dokie. For the next part, I'm going to show you how I do the gemstones on the model. There's one on the knee, one on the elbow. I've actually done the rest already. See there. So I've left these two so I can show you how I do it. So I started by painting the whole of the gem with corn red, and then what I'll do is do a little one half of it like a crescent shape in Mephiston red, and then I do a smaller crescent with Wild Rider red, and then a smaller highlight with Avalanche Sunset, and then on the opposite side a little bit of white scar, and that completes the gem effect. Right, so now we've got the base coat of corn red down, we go with Mephiston red, and then I've got the white highlight all at the top facing towards that way as if the light's coming this way, so I do the Mephiston red crescent on the opposite side of the gem. Now you can do this with different colours, you don't have to do them red, you can do purple ones, gradually getting lighter towards this way, or green or whatever. It all looks good. Whatever goes with your scheme. So I'm just doing like a moon shape. And leave some of that corn red behind. And we'll do the same again. Wild Rider red, which is pretty much orange to be honest. I'll do the same thing again, but smaller this time. Like that. Okay. And get some Avalanche Sunset. I want a nice thin little highlight in that orange area. like that. That kind of thing. And to complete the look, get some white scar or any white paint, get a little bit on the brush, and at the opposite end, where you've still got the the corn red showing, you do a little, tiny little dash of this. It's a bit too wet. Like that. You can do one little dash, or sometimes I do a little dash and a dot. Like that. And just to make it look like gemstone, finish it off with some gloss varnish. You can use the Odd Coat, or whatever it's called, from Games Workshop, or this is the Vallejo one, because I use this one for airbrushing sometimes. Just paint over the gem, gives it a nice sheen, makes it look a bit more gem-like. There we go, happy days. When that dries, it'll dry clear. And nice looking gems. Right. Right, we're coming to the last couple of steps really for the Dreadnought. So we need to do the eyes, and I'm just going to do some edge highlighting on these guns. So for that I'm going to use Lead Belcher by Citadel. I'm just going to carefully pick out all the raised edges on these guns. Okie dokie. Next I'm going to start doing the eyes. So I'm going to give them both a base coat of War Flesh. It's probably the best dark green I've got at the minute. Perhaps not the best choice, but the best base colour I've got. Because my friends at Scheme has got green eyes, so that's what we're going to do. Carefully paint all the eye sockets, lenses. Then I'm going to get some scorpion green. I think the new version is moot green. Some of that on the brush. I'm just going to try to do a little line towards the front to the bottom of the eye. going to put a little tiny highlighted white in the opposite corner, if I can get in. So it's quite pointy up that end on these particular eye lenses. Take the arms off for a second, give them away. It's tough getting in there. There we go. Just about managed. There we go. We've got quite a nice high lens effect. Right, finishing touches now. I'm just going to base the Dreadnought next. So I've just painted the base ashen grey all over, the same colour I used for the weapons. Where's it gone? That one. Ashen grey, GW. So next I'm going to give it all over a coat with good old Null oil, wherever that's gone. Okay, so the ink's dried on the base now, so it's time for the final finishing touches. So what I do is dry brush over the raised parts of the base with some rack-off flesh. A nice stony colour. Get some of that on your brush. Get off all the excess onto some paper towel. I think I really need to change my kitchen towel, it's getting a bit mucky. That's all the way downstairs. Okay, and then just go all over the base, picking out the raised edges. Now usually when I'm basing, especially bigger models like this, I usually put some slate chippings on to glue them to the base so they look like little stones. Not big stones compared to this model, but I haven't got any at the minute, so I can't. Could always be added on later though. So next we'll glue down a few tufts. Now they have got sticky pads on them, but they're not very good, to be honest. Although these ones are not that bad, but they always end up coming off whenever you take them anywhere. So I usually find up a spot where I like. Just dab a little bit of super glue on. Don't need a lot. On there. There we go. Now just to finish the model off, probably the most satisfying part of painting any model is painting the rim around the base. So I'm going to get some Chaos Black, wherever that's hiding. Okay, finally found my Abaddon Black. this all around the rim. I used to paint rims all kinds of colours of brown and things like that, but I think I'd say black just looks better no matter what the base colour is. There we go. One complete dreadnought. Ready to smash up some heretics. Arms back on, and there we go. Once that's dry, it'll look pretty badass, I reckon. Hope you'll be happy with that, my buddy. And there we go. I really enjoyed painting this model, and hopefully you enjoyed the video too. If you did, like and subscribe to the channel, and hopefully I'll see you in the next video.